This is part 1 of a 4-part series called Starpower, Interstellar Cloud. At the age of 16, one day his father walked in and said, "Get up, let's go." Errol Spence Jr. didn't know what his father had in mind, but he took him to an all-Mexican gym called the Vivero, where he was the only black fighter. They was rough on him in sparring and giving him a hard time, but he made his mark. Then he started working with the illustrious Derrick James.
He has strength, he has power, he has speed.
He's got the possibility of changing boxing.
He had an illustrious amateur career with the record of 135-12. In 2009, at the U.S. National Golden Gloves, he came with a gold record. He won 3 consecutive national amateur welterweight championships. In 2009, he got the gold at Salt Lake City. 2010, Little Rock, he got the silver. 2009 in Denver, the national championship, he got it gold. Colorado Springs, 2010, gold. Colorado Springs, 2011, gold. Also in San Antonio at the USPLE championship, he got a gold medal as well. In 2011, in the quarterfinals, he lost to Serek Sapayev, the 2-time golden champion from Kazakhstan. This was his last amateur fight before he went into the Olympic trials in 2012.
A fan of boxing, me and my dad. I grew up watching Lennox Lewis because he's of Jamaican descent and my dad's Jamaican too. So we used to always go and watch him and go support him.
Errol Spence is ready for the Olympics, but the question is, will the Olympics be ready for Errol Spence? We only have to sit back and see.
He's almost like the perfect boxer.
Boxing needs a new face, and I think that Errol Spence is that face.
With his family watching and the state of Texas on his back, Errol puts himself through the grueling training and does what needs to be done.
I'm a very aggressive boxer. If I see have my opponent hurt, I would take risks and go in there and try to get him out of there and knock him out. I'm a person that hate to lose in anything. So that's my motivation right there. I'm a very smart thinker. I think a lot too. I can read my opponent real well. Just all around, just a boxer punching. My dad woke me up one day. He was like, we going to the boxing gym. I didn't like it at first. I used to get beat up a lot. He wouldn't let me quit. He said, if you quit in this, when it gets hard, then you're quitting anything in life. So he made me stick with it, and it turned out to be the best thing I ever done.
With the great Derrick James teaching and his father firmly behind him, Errol Spence set off to make history, set out to bring the gold back to the United States. Early in the morning before dawn, he goes out and runs, and late at night, he's the first one in and the last one to leave. He is fully motivated. That's what keeps him different, and it sets him apart from everybody else. Controversy saw Errol Spence march to the goal, stop short. In a fight that he clearly won, even the ref thought he won and raised his hand up first. He was pronounced lost. The governing bodies went back in and changed the decision, but it was too late. The damage was done, and Spence coincidentally lost the next round. After that, he chose to turn pro and set up his national debut as being the greatest welterweight ever. Spence would then subsequently string together 3 more first-round knockouts: Guillermo Ibarra, Eddie Cordova, and Jesus Tavera. In a step-up fight against Emmanuel Larte, he got a unanimous decision where Spence was hit the hardest of his career, where he was rocked. But it didn't have the effect that Larte wanted. All it did was cut the dynamite on, and then Spence exploded on him. First round knockout of Guardo Cruz, a 4th round knockout at Peter Aluch at the Cowboy Dance Hall. Then had 2 fights at the Joint Paradise Casino, 1st round knockout of Raymond Charles, and a 2nd round knockout of Noe Bolanos. A 10-round unanimous decision against Ronald Cruz, and then he subsequently made his debut at the NGM Grand Garden Casino against Francisco Castro, who he then knocked out in the 5th round. Next, he made his Barclays debut, where he knocked out Samuel Vargas in the 4th round. back to the MGM Grand, Phil LaGreco in the 3rd round. People want to see how good Spence really is. They keep calling for the big names, and Spence is on the hunt for the title shot, but the title bearers are not trying to see him. So he has a step-up fight at the Ricoh Coliseum in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, against Chris Van Heerden. A beautiful fight in which he hurt Van Heerden numerous of occasions. The South African fighter tried to make it a dirty fight, plenty of mugging in the Coliseum in Toronto. He then drops his hands and rolls his shoulders like he was doing the Harlem Shake when Spence pounded him to the body. Instead of clowning around, he looked more like a piñata when he was getting pounded out into the 8th round. Stoppage, which saved Van Heerden from taking more punishment because it was a lose-lose situation. Then Spence was too powerful. Next, they chose to put Spence in there with former welterweight world champion Chris Algieri at the Barclays Center. Errol Spence was 20-0 with 17 knockouts and did what Manny Pacquiao and Rosalind Provetnikov could not. Spence stopped Chris Algieri's 21-3 with a punishing and professional demolition job to earn a 5th round TKO victory. Spence floored Algieri 3 times in the fight, and the boxing world exploded with praise for the former Olympian with his fight. It now seems that Spence is now at the top of the steps, and he's looking to make the name for himself. Now, he's searching for the champions, looking for his mark on greatness. His greatness was being noticed. The great Floyd Mayweather took an interest in Spence and used him to prepare for an upcoming title match. He was able to see the young champion's true potential and marked on his journey together.
You know, at first I came in, kind of caught me off guard. I said, okay, I see.
When I got in the ring with Floyd and I was going tick for tack with him, and you know, we was going 8, 10 rounds, and I just knew, I was like, man, if I can do this for Floyd, I can do this for anybody.
Want to step up and fight him for one of my belts? They can do that. If not, he's going to fight another opponent. But I'm going to make sure he's going to fight for that title.
If Floyd destroyed guys in sparring and destroyed ex-world champions in sparring, and I'm doing this great with him, you know, my ceiling is high. I can be just as great as Floyd Mayweather.